Hi, so my name's Lewis Quayle, and today I'm going to be talking to you a little bit about a B Corporation called Patagonia. And before I get into a B Corporation and what that involves, I'm going to give you a brief history of Patagonia. So the company was first set up by a man called Yvon Chouinard in 1973, and the company began selling climbing devices called pitons. So these were little devices that get hammered into the rock, and climbers were able to attach their rope to these. The company was using scrap metal to produce these. However, they were focused on making lightweight, top quality items which were supported by the actual climbers themselves. So the next point that I want to make is really important, and I feel this says a lot about the company. So Chouinard scrapped his original piton due to the fact that it needed to be hammered into the rock, and it was damaging rock faces all over Vancouver, the North Shore region, all over America, and he found this out. And instead of just carrying on and accepting that this was just a part of the product and that's how it was going to be, he set out to develop a new product, and he did this called a chock. So this was an aluminium piece that didn't need to be hammered into the rock and was not damaging the actual rock face itself, and this revolutionised a type of climbing called clean climbing. I'll talk a little bit about the values of Patagonia. So this really ties in what I was just talking about. So firstly, the value's been updated as of 2020 this year, and Patagonia want to deliver the best possible product they can to the consumers. They want to cause no unnecessary harm while doing so. They want to protect nature and use their business to do so. And they said they will not be bound by convention. So I think I'm going to take a look at these a little bit further into detail, and I'm going to tell you a little bit about each one of those values. The fundamentals of a B Corporation, and I'm going to talk about how Patagonia fit into this. So firstly, a B Corporation, their fundamentals consist of governance, workers, environment, and the community. So I'm going to go into each one of these aspects, and I'm going to tell you a little bit about it and how Patagonia operate within each. Okay, so I'm going to talk a little bit about Patagonia and governance. So good governance is at the heart of any successful business. This comes down to achieving its goals. It comes down to maintaining legal and ethical standards, especially in the eyes of shareholders and potential shareholders. So this transparency means that potential investors are going to know exactly where the funds are going, donations that they're making, and exactly what they're doing with their finances. So this is really key for a shareholder looking to invest in a company. So a B Corporation having that title is really beneficial for us. So a really important value of Patagonia is that their products are designed to be high quality in comfort and style. So I think this is really important due to the fact that nowadays a lot of companies are using child labour forces and sweatshops in order to make their products, and this results in fast fashion. So fast fashion means that products that are getting used, so clothes that are cheap, poorly designed, and that are going to be thrown away in a short amount of time. So this does not benefit the environment, it's polluting areas. The community themselves who are manufacturing the clothes, they're getting paid poorly, they're working in poor conditions. But Patagonia stray away from this. They're looking to make a high quality product produced ethically and responsibly that will not damage the environment. So a really important value in terms of the environment for Patagonia is the fact that by 2025 they're aiming to be using 100% recycled material to make their products. So this benefits the environment greatly. Recyclable material that will be going to, say, landfill will be being used in a massive company to develop their clothing. So this will take a great strain off the environment, taking a lot of waste that would potentially be going to landfill and being used to make high quality clothing, which is going to last for a long time. Another value of Patagonia that really does affect the workers and the environment is the fact that they allow each of their staff to do 2 months working with an environmental charity on full pay. So I feel this really shows what they stand for as a company. They're going to take the financial burden of paying their staff with no actual gain themselves in terms of production, that kind of thing. They're going to allow them to go and work with an environmental charity to go and show what they stand for themselves, to go and help the environment. So another example of good governance from Patagonia is the fact that it is an economically sustainable company. So as of 2019, they earned $28 million with a $5.5 million gross profit for that year. So this shows that the company is making money as well as helping the environment like this. So I'm going to talk a little bit from the list of options for governance from Patagonia. So I'm going to talk about the legal commitment that they have to the B Corp. So as of 2012, Patagonia signed a legally binding document stating that they are going to become a B Corporation. This meant that there was a specific legal structure and a lot of values that they needed to fulfill on their side in order to maintain their status. I think this was a key pivotal role, as it really shows to the consumer that they are serious about this and they actually do stand for the values they say they do, as this is a legally binding document and they would not be allowed to go against this. So another point from governance as of the list is that the mission statement must include commitment to safeguarding the stakeholders' interests. So as of January 2019, Patagonia released a new mission statement, and this stated, "We're in business to save our home planet." So this is quite important to me, because I feel that as an investor into the company, the mission statement is really what they stand for, and it's pretty clear, straightforward from that. It's a simple statement. The shareholder knows exactly what they want and what they stand for. So when referring to workers, I'd like to choose health and safety and education from the list to talk about. I'm going to mention that in 1999, Patagonia accepted an invitation from President Clinton to join a task force to eradicate child labour. This meant that they will be looking into scandals involving multiple companies that are aware that they're using child labour and trying to put an end to this. What Patagonia actually do themselves is that they send out a member of their environmental team that will go to factories where they're going to be producing clothing, or where they're thinking about producing clothing, to do a risk assessment. They look at the conditions they're working in, the hours and the pay that the staff will be receiving, and they'll decide whether this is ethical and whether they will be choosing to operate out of this area. So I'm going to talk now about suppliers, and I'm going to talk about the community. So Patagonia continuously work with their suppliers to check standards. So when they're looking for somewhere to manufacture their clothing, they'll send a representative out, like I've mentioned, once a year to make sure that they're living up to the standards of a B Corporation especially. And also another point to mention about their suppliers is that they want to make sure that they're producing the highest quality goods they possibly can. And the reason for this is because they do not want the products boomeranging back to the suppliers. So the products that they are making are high quality, they don't have defects, and they're not getting sent back, which is going to cause problems not only for Patagonia but also for the supplier. So they really do take care of that in that sense. So talking about the environment now, I want to talk a little bit about the efficient use of their materials and the lack of waste caused by this. So the materials that Patagonia use at the minute are 80% recycled, and they aim to up this to 100% by 2025. I think it's also important to say about the use of their materials, like Chouinard's first design, the Piton. He scrapped this due to it causing damage to the landscape, and I think that says a lot about the company itself. He does care about his products and how they're affecting the natural world, so it clearly does stand for a really good, strong environmental point, and his business really does echo that. So a little bit about a B Corporation. I think it's quite interesting to analyse the fact that a business could smokescreen the fact that they're a B Corporation into fooling a consumer to think that their values and ethics are for the greater good, but really they're just using it as this as a PR tool. So they're just looking for extra sales and they're not actually vested in the environment. But in the case of Chouinard and Patagonia, I really don't think this is the case. What he stands for has always been the environment. He's risked his best product coming off the market to develop a new one which may not sell as well but will benefit the environment from the start. And with the update of his mission statement as of 2020, I think this is really demonstrative of that fact. However, I do feel signing a legally binding document stating that you're going to fulfil the requirements of a B Corporation, I think that does speak volumes for a business, and I think especially in this case he does live up to what he said he's going to do, and the business does mirror what a B Corporation really wants to do. So one last area I wanted to quickly discuss was Elkington's triple bottom line that was established in 1994, and it was an alternate way to measure a business's success in terms of how it does financially, environmentally, socially, and in terms of the workers. And as of all the points I've mentioned before, Patagonia does fall into a really good standing within Elkington's triple bottom line. The things it does in terms of its environmental work, the social aspects, how it treats its staff, I think it really does show it's a strong business. So just to summarise now all the points, Patagonia, its policies do strongly relate to governance. You know, it looks after charities, they make sure their finances are correct, they look after their staff, they give them opportunities such as working with charities on full pay. The community, they make sure that their factories, the staff are getting treated correctly, and they're making sure that they are really doing this for the environment and following their mission statement. So thank you very much for listening.